Hey folks, so what are these things, you asked? Well, you didn't ask really, but I'm answering anyway. These are little PROM to EPROM adapter that I've made. Come on, focus once again. That I've made essentially so that you can read an EPROM, a PROM, like a color PROM or a little program PROM, into an EPROM. So a bit of background here. A while back I was working on this board, and I was convinced that this EPROM or PROM, was a problem. So these boards, typically you have EPROMs and then you have RAMs, and then sometimes you have stuff like these. They're very often socketed, but not all the time. Typically, they wouldn't be a 74 LS something. They'll be, in this case, well, I can't read, but 82S 131 or 129 would be common enough, or equivalents. So you have stuff like that, or you'd have color PROMs. So they contain a tiny bit of program. These would be included in the ROM set that you get from MAME, but they're really hard to program. In fact, non-MAME programmers can do it, and programmers that can do it are rare and expensive, and I believe these PROMs aren't really made anymore. So one of the solutions is to get the schematics or the data sheet for the PROM and data sheet for the EPROM, and to try and just match them, which is what I did here. And it looks really messy, it's bulky. I really did that in a rush, and it's a botched job, but it got me to think, what if I did something equivalent that looks a bit more tidy, so that I can put this in my programmer and read the EPROM, the content, to check that it's correct. And once I've done that, put it back into the EPROM on the PCB and put into the PROM socket on the PCB and put an EPROM instead. So these little boards do exactly that. You can do essentially both with these. I believe there's a few people online that make them, but they're kind of hard to trace sometimes. You have to look through forums, and it's not that easy to find. Anyway, so I made this one. It's pretty universal. So what you can do is use if you want to read, use a socket, a small socket, and these long legs. Put that in your programmer, or if you want to, then dump them into your PCB. Put the long legs here, and then a socket on the outside here. So they're universal. They work both ways. I've done a couple of things, jumper settings, because the 82. It's hard to read. Yeah, the 82, 131, and 129 and 126 require different settings. I've put the jumpers here settings. So this one, the last one is left open, and the first one is left open in the case of the other PROM. So you just jumper those two, or those two, and then those two, or those two. It should be self-explanatory, and if you need to read them, here on the back I've a note saying bridge to read the 121s, 129 only. The other ones don't really need to be bridged. So you can bridge those two. You just insert I don't know, like a little bit of metal, or try to bridge the two, or you could get those standard bridges. These are standard length. So very little. It's very simple. It's just a mapping really of pinouts. Very handy, and well, I know this one worked, at least to read. I was able to determine that my PROM on my board wasn't the problem. So, but I didn't make it the other way around. So I've made two sets, one to read, one to write. This one is for it's the 131, and the other one is for the 129, and we're gonna test both. So I think this one, the 129, is what's on this 9042 board. So we'll try this first, and I think the color PROMs on Arkanoid are 131 equivalent. So we'll try those on that board. So let's take the PROM from the board, put it here, and see if we can read it in the reader. Alright, so I got my adapters here. I took one of the PROMs from 1942. and this is an 82S129 equivalent. I can't remember exactly what type of PROM it is, but it's we can use it as a 129 equivalent, and the jumper settings are here, so I've done exactly that. Interestingly though, I have the jumpers wrong. If we're looking at this, the jumpers are set to a 131. It's actually the other way around, so I'll make a new revision of that board and get the silk screen print out correct. That's really what's wrong with it. I swapped my silk screen identification. Not a big deal, at least I know that. So anyway, I have that in the reader mode, and I've just a jumper here for reader mode, because it's a 129, and as I said, here, there's a note, or the other way around. If you're using a 129 to read, just set this jumper. Other than that, I haven't it set in what will be receive our EPROM. Anyway, I have two readers here. I'm going to start with this one, and we'll see how it goes on with this one. But I think one of them does a pin check or something like that, so I'm not sure which one, but we need to disable that, and probably some other check. There's a couple of checks that we need to disable for it to work. Anyway, let's switch to the computer here. I have my, let's focus, programmer software here, and here interestingly I have just an X editor, and you can see the I've loaded it with the data of the PROM I got from MAME. So when we read it, we should see that content. Also, the interesting thing here is that the PROM is a 4-bit PROM, meaning the data is coded on just 4 bits, so 1 1 1 1 or 0 0 0 0 0. Any combination of 4 bits. So here we have an 8-bit, a full byte, an 8-bit representation of the data. So the software doesn't see anything for the first 4 bits, so it defaults that to 0, and then the second one we see here is our actual information. It is, so 2 is 0 0 1 0. If we see, is there an F or an E? E should be 1 1 1 0. There you go, 1 1 1 0. So this is the actual data that's in the chip. This is what the software defaults to when it doesn't find information. I'm saying that because it's going to be important here. Most likely what we're going to find is Fs instead of 0. But it shouldn't make a difference. We could just read it straight from the ROM. I would assume it will output F2, and we can copy that into the PROM because the software is just gonna read the last 4 bits anyway. So anything before will be ignored. But it can be confusing if the first time you come across it. So I've selected my to read it as a 27512. Read oh, here, pin detect, verify. So one of these might be we might need to deselect. So it tells us here, let's insert our pin, press read. Yeah, so the pin detect error, so we should disable that, and let's try that again. Check ID or error. Oh yeah, I think we need to disable that as well. So interesting, yeah, we need to the pin detect disable and check ID disable, and and read, and we should see essentially the same content. There you go. So it's read it, same content. Just do a few random checks here. FD, we should see a 0D. Somewhere at D60. There you go, 0D, and then we should yeah, it looks the same. The other thing is this guy is only ANDs at 7F0. This is a big EPROM, so it will most likely AND much further than that. It's okay, the program is only going to read that, and I think it just duplicates whatever else it finds, because the pins are tied, so it will duplicate. It goes to 7F0 here, and then yeah, it repeats again the same stuff because we've tied the pins on the EPROM. well, the adapter does anyway. So there you go. We should be able to save that and put that into a fresh EPROM. First, I want to check that everything is okay with this guy. I don't think, in fact, because we've had the problem with this one, I'm not sure this guy does all these checks. I think if it does, you have to enable them, so we might be more flexible. Anyway, we can take this out. I'm gonna put the EPROM here and burn a new EPROM with the information we saved, and then put that back in the board and see if it works. By the way, this is with the GQ software, GQ4X4, and I've read this as a 27256, not a 512, just to see if it would work, and it does indeed. So, and I'm pretty sure you could use a 27 128, maybe a 64. I'll have to try, but yeah, 256 and 512 are pretty common. So. These should work, and we see the same data again with F's instead of zeros, but I don't think that will make a difference. Anyway, let's save this, burn an EPROM, and test this. Okay, so we've had the 1942 board here, and replacing the PROM. Now without this, the program doesn't boot, so it needs this EPROM there, so that's a good way to verifying that it all works properly. But I have trust in my look at that. This is awesome. This is awesome. Let me get rid of this lamp here. So it works just fine, and happy days. I made something that works. So next thing now is to try on the 82S131 type of PROMs, or whatever equivalent. I think Arcanoid use stuff like that for the color PROMs. So I'll dig out the board, and we'll do the same thing. We'll read it, and then I'm going to copy it directly into an EPROM and see if that works. But folks, this is so encouraging. I'm really happy with this, that this little thing is working. Happy days. Okay, let's keep going. All right, same thing here on the Arcanoid color PROMs. These are82S131 equivalent. What are these? 711 or whatever. I can't read from here, but anyway, so I have read this one and just copied the content onto a 27512 EPROM, and well, let's see if it works. There was no need to actually just to change anything again, and I directly read the stuff from here and copied it onto here. I didn't even use the EPROM data you get from the ROM set, because I want to see if that can be used like that as well, and if it ignores the F like it does in the other ones. Anyway, let's go ahead and check it out. And well, finally, this is the 131 mode for the color PROMs on an Arcanoid, and I've replaced the red, I think, and lo and behold, it's working fine. So happy days. Really delighted with this. It's really my first attempt at making one of these little adapters. After the crappy one I'd made, it's nice to see something nice and tidy and clean, and that was able to do something like that. So I want to make more stuff like that. Maybe that's a direction for the channel as well. Just making small repro stuff and ICs and things like that. I want to maybe address my Kung Fu Master that I repaired. I know Caius makes some very cool repros, but there's other chips in there that can be reproed, and I have a bootleg that does all that with 74 LS series. So maybe I can repro the other. I'll start digging. Maybe start actually with the one that Caius made, and not copy it, but just start from scratch. It'll be a good learning curve. And maybe if I can replicate that, then I can move on to other ones. But for now, delighted with those little yolks. Very handy. So I'm not sure what I want to do with it, but I don't know, maybe use them, sell them, something like that. I haven't decided yet. Time will tell. Folks, I hope this was interesting. Thank you for watching. Don't forget Discord, Facebook, Twitter. There's a Patreon if you want to help the channel, or maybe you want one of those and that would help the channel too. Maybe that could be a way actually to get these, is to actually join the Patreon. I'll think about it. That wouldn't be a bad idea. And I can send you sample of stuff. Folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.